I'm just trying to make Blackness in the diaspora as universal as it is. My father, he moved around quite a bit, and so did my family, and we, New York is like the home that I know. It's where I went to school. That's where I sort of cut my teeth. So everything that I'm informed by is by my experience in my life in New York, but also because of my early childhood of traveling. I think that's why I have this sort of global perspective on what I do, and I try not to be so tribal in a way that hinders not just the work, but also how I operate in the world. This was like a case study that I was doing of Nefertiti before I visited her in Berlin. I went to Berlin with the intention of photographing Nefertiti, knowing that they don't allow images in the space that she's in. And I say she's culturally held hostage in Berlin.
Yeah.
Because even people that live in Berlin don't know that she's in Berlin.
That word of divorce or removal keeps coming up because here, Nefertiti, you're associating with the region, with the site, but then of course she's divorced from that culturally, but then she's also in our collective imagination via the internet.
Sure.
And so then you're going back in to take the picture.
I just think if you can do it physically, then we could at least try to own the image. And I think that's what it's been for me,
Check. Yeah, it's diaspora is not only displacement of people, but it's our cultural heritage, and it wasn't just...
It's not just people, it's ideas, it's objects, it's artifacts. I know I'm in a really affluent European city by the collection of African objects that they stolen, you know what I mean? They're just like these fire starters. If you leave it on the paper long enough, you get a nice ring on it. Everything about this process is completely random and left to chance, which is what I love about it. And I feel most free when I'm actually making these.
I mean, it's mark making, it's trace leaving, I love these lines, the smoke on the page. It's so gorgeous. And you make these over a period of time, right? It's not
only
one
during
sitting.
Ramadan. Finding a time, carving it out, and then just dedicating myself to these drawings. Obviously, it's month of fasting, so there's a lot of other things that I'm thinking about, and this becomes this one thing that I do every year as a way to mark the significance of it. Sometimes it's just words and language, and sometimes it's just certain ideas and certain motifs like Nefertiti that repeat because I have to keep refreshing that kind of collective memory. And if I see it being used by someone not from the African diaspora, then I especially feel strongly about reclaiming it because I think it represents something significantly different for people of the diaspora than it does for somebody who's just living with it in Berlin. Rarely do these people mention the history and the kind of conditions that this thing was taken away from Africa, right? Or from Egypt, but.
And for those of us in the diaspora, unfortunately, all we have is the image.
Sure.
Right? All we have is the collective.
Or the trinkets
or the trinket, or all we have is the idea of it.
That's what I'm trying to instill in my generation of young thinkers, right? Hey, you can also look back at this history and find something. Yeah. And I feel it's a lot of it is untapped. We're still working within this sort of parameter that was given to us, but not by what we know comes from a deeper place, which is a spiritual, a philosophical, and oftentimes in African tradition, there's a lot of things that are sort of oratory, right? They're just things that from talking to your great-grandmother. And to me, those are the most powerful moments when you can connect those kind of invisible ideas, stories, histories, back to something that's more contemporary and give it a new life and give it more meaning.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do.